Hi everyone, good morning and welcome to the episode 10 of Sprout HR Expert Season 6. So I'm Simmer and I'll be your host for today. And thank you so much everyone for dropping by on your Thursday schedules for our lunchtime here. So another thing guys, you'll be excited to the topic that we have right now. But before we start with the topic, I'd like to welcome you again guys for dropping by. And today, for Sprout HR Experts webinar, I will be talking about the benefits of setting goals, how to set goals, a quick goal setting, some exercises, some key challenges people face during this pandemic, and how to overcome them, as well as strategies to achieve goals. So I know I've set a lot of goals, but this will be great. This will be worth it, guys. So I'm pretty sure that you'll be learning a lot of things for today. So if you like webinars like this, please don't forget to follow our social media pages at Sprout HR Tech and be on the lookout for all new episodes. We love to give you guys topics like this, very relatable, and I personally is really excited to learn more about this topic because it's really a challenge for us guys, especially if you're in a work from home setting and you want to be fit, you want to make sure that your health and your body is prepared for the daily work that you have, or perhaps if you're feeling unwell, and also making sure that you won't get sick or get have COVID and stuff. So this topic will be working on a progress on it. So again, guys, thank you so much for dropping by, and thank you for tuning in to this exciting episode of HR Sprout Experts by Sprout Solutions. So I know that you guys are already looking forward for the topic that I already actually um, informed you guys here. So, but before that, we'll go ahead and have an icebreaker for us. Okay, so the icebreaker that we have right now will just be a poll that you will see on your screens. And the poll that you will see on your screens will be these answers. Here's the question. First is, what is your favorite type of workout as of this moment? So first is a full body exercises. Second is anything to tone the abs. Or third, arm and leg workouts. Or the fourth, which is all of the above. So me personally, I work out maybe perhaps three times a week, and I try to make sure that I have like a full body workout. Like first on the first day, we'll be having like an arm and leg, and then second will be everything else, and then something like that. So let's go ahead and check. Um, let's see. You guys can go ahead and answer the questions. Okay, I'll give you guys like a minute to check. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I have the answers. It showed up here. So the first, or the 44% is actually full body exercises. 6% is anything to tone the abs. 32% is arm and leg workout, and then The last one is 70% for all of the above. So yeah, I agree. I also do full body exercises at the moment. So thank you so much, guys. All right. So I'm sure you guys are looking forward to learn more about today's topic. But aside from the icebreaker that we presented to you earlier, we also have a raffle for you guys. So there are some people that I see here right at the moment who are already participants from previous webinars. I'm pretty sure you've seen me as well from last week's and last week's. But aside from that, you guys already know it that we have a raffle every time that we do the webinars. So here's the mechanics for the webinar that we have, which is first collect all three keywords and get the chance to win a 200 pesos grab gift card. So the first one is collect all three keywords that will be flashed onto the screen throughout the webinar. Second is follow Sprout's official Twitter page at Sprout HR Tech. Third will be comment all three keywords on the pinned tweet on our Twitter page. Fourth will be announcing the lucky winner at the end of the session. And lastly, we'll be sending out the prizes via Twitter DM after the session. So you guys have to make sure that you will be connected to Twitter. You'll be able to see the pinned comment on our Twitter account. And then we'll be announcing the lucky winner later on, and just we'll go ahead and message you through direct message on Twitter. All right. So while you guys are logging onto your Twitter accounts, I just want to let you know that there will be a fireside chat session later wherein you can ask our panelists and also speaker about today's topic, which is how to achieve your health and fitness goals during the pandemic. So while we're going to discuss it with you, you can go ahead and chat your questions or list down your questions so that you will be able to ask it later on our fireside chat. So, all right, without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's speaker. Prior to Rebel, he worked across Asia in high growth startups in both food and finance industries. He wants to help people live healthier lives despite busy work schedules and life commitments. He also likes to explore the boundaries of what human body and mind is capable of as an aspiring Ironman triathlon competitor. So, guys, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Josh Nedeljkovic.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you very much for the introduction, Samira. Really happy to be here and excited to get to know you a little bit. So thanks, everybody, for joining, and also look forward to the fireside chat with Lester and Jermaine. We're going to go through a few things today. So as Samir mentioned, I'm Josh. I'm from the Rebel team. So going to explain a little bit about who we are, if you haven't heard of Rebel as a company before. And then we're going to talk about goals. So this should be a really exciting, let's say, next 30 to 45 minutes where I want you to take time out of your day to really focus on you. And hopefully you as an individual can actually get something from this. And then also you can be thinking in the background of how this could benefit your organizations, right? So yeah, without further ado, we can get started if you want to move forward with the presentation. Okay, great. So first things first, a quick show of hands, actually. I'd like to keep this interactive, so make sure you can be friends with the chat box or raise your hand. Who has heard of Rebel before this webinar today? A quick show of hands. If not, we have some work to do, but that's okay. So we are the number one health and fitness platform in the Philippines, so we can move forward. Yep, so we're the number one fitness platform. So we launched in September last year. So we actually launched at the height of the pandemic. You may have heard of two of the co-founders, so Owen Yusuf and Nico Bolzico. So together, we launched Rebel really to help Filipinos live a happier and a healthier life. So we created an app which is full of content. So we have over 600 on-demand workouts, recipes, and meditations all in one place. We've also started working with companies on curating very personalized corporate wellness programs. So a lot of companies have reached out to us over the past few months and since we launched so that we can help assist. As Samir mentioned, it can be a particularly challenging time with the pandemic. So we've come up with some programs to help. And we've made all of this possible by bringing together the country's best health experts. So some of you in your respective organizations might have reached out to coaches and instructors. We've talked to hundreds and really filtered down to what we believe are the best coaches in the country to help deliver the most engaging content. Okay, cool. So we can keep moving forward. So as I mentioned, our vision is to help every Filipino live a healthier life, so that starts even with you guys right here, and then with teams and companies. On the next slide, I'll explain a little bit about how we view health in general, right? So if we move forward, you can see we have 3 different pillars of content. So number 1 is sweat. We can move forward on the slides. Yep, so pillar number 1 is sweat. So that's everything to do with getting your body moving. So whether that's yoga, Pilates, boxing, and as Samira said, she does full body exercises, which is great. We have pretty much content for everybody there. The second is eat. So this is really spearheaded by Owen Yusuf. So together with the nutritionists, we've created hundreds of healthy recipes that are available with locally available ingredients and at a really accessible price point. They're easy to make, so you can find those all in the Rebel app. And then the last part is care, right? So this is everything to do with mental health. So really important given sort of the state of the environment we're in now. So this is helping people reduce anxiety, improving sleep, and improving focus, things like that. So feel free to actually download the Rebel app if you haven't already. So you can do that right now or after this seminar. So you can find it on the iOS App Store or the Google Play Store. It's free to download. We also do have a subscription if you want access to all of our content. But yeah, that was a short sort of plug for Rebel, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's great, Lester. Glad to hear it. Okay, so let's keep it moving forward to today's topics, right? So let's talk about objectives. So next slide, please. We're going to talk about 5 different things today. So number 1 is, what are the benefits of actually setting goals? So this might be obvious to some people, but maybe not to others. Number 2 is how to set goals. So there really is like a strategy of how to set goals. And we'll do a quick exercise. So by the end of this 30-minute presentation, all of you are actually going to have written down some of your goals. So that's exciting. I want you all to go away from this talk with something practical so you can go on and achieve. The third thing is, all right, now we've set our goals. How do we get ourselves in a peak state to actually achieve them? And we'll go into detail on what that actually means. Then some really practical strategies for success, right? So this could be for you, it could be for your teams or whoever you work with on a daily basis. And then lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about Rebel corporate wellness. So if we were to engage, let's say, with your respective companies, what we actually offer. Okay, so let's, we can kick off on the first slide. So move forward. Yeah, so start off with a question. So please put in the chat box or raise your hand. Do you already set goals? So just have a quick think. Have you written down goals? Have you thought about goals? Have you told anybody else, your family, your friends, about goals that you have? Yeah, let me know in the chat or raise your hand so that we can get an idea of what the starting point is. So you've got Lewis there, he's yes, he's got goals. Anybody else? Anybody else got any goals that they've already planned? Yes, Maria. Yes, Angelita. Nice. Okay, so keep it coming. So you got family goals there. Algeria also. Okay, that's great. So let's keep it moving. We're going to use this chat box and keep it flowing. So let's move on to, why do we set goals in the first place, right? So perhaps for those of you who haven't set goals, or maybe you've been thinking about it, here's a few concepts that I'd just like to go through. So first of all is, progress is happiness, right? Everybody's always talking about how can we be happy? How can, like, as a human, just make our lives better? And a fundamental part of that is progress. So it's not about comparing to other people out there, whether it's, Olympic athletes or people who are in amazing shape, but it's all about being the best version of you. So being better tomorrow than you are today, right? So progress equals happiness. So goals are a great way to achieve progress, right? The second is, we all dream, right? Or hopefully we all have dreams of where we'd like to be one day, in terms of, maybe it's next year, maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years. It could be with your family, it could be with your friends, it could just be your personal dreams, right? So goals are a way to make those actually become a reality. So it can make what's happening in your mind actually become real, right? Which is pretty exciting. And then the last thing is, where focus goes, energy flows. So this is actually a quote from Tony Robbins. So he's quite a notorious sort of speaker in this space. So the idea here is really, once you set a goal and you set a focus on it, whether you write it down, whether you tell your friend, then energy is going to flow there, right? So you're going to increase your likelihood and the chances of you actually succeeding at whatever you do. So it starts by setting goals. So let's move on to the key areas where we set goals in life, right? So we're going to talk about one specifically today, but here's like 5 key areas that you might want to think about, right? So at the top is health, and we put that there for a reason, because I think health is sort of the fundamental in order to achieve everything else here. Second is career, right? So, I mean, a lot of you, I understand, would be in HR teams or people in culture teams. So this is probably a very common topic for you. People are wanting to progress in the career. They want to know what the next step in the ladder looks like. So setting goals for these can be really, really important. Then there's personal development. So this could be anything from learning a language to just improving something about yourself that maybe it's not for anybody else, but it's for your own personal growth. Then there's finance. So I think one of the biggest stresses and problems we hear from our users at Rebel actually is around finance. So it can be money related stresses. So having goals in this area and setting them can be really beneficial. And then last but not least is family and relationships, right? So whether that's your partner, your spouse, your friends, your children, having goals in this area can also help, right? Again, where focus goes, energy flows. It's very easy to let one of these areas slide. And of course, at certain points in our life, our focus will go towards one of these than another. And that's okay. But I think what's important is that we're self-aware and it's a conscious choice. So we can move forward. So today we're going to focus on health goals specifically. Of course, we could talk about a lot of the others, but we'll stay focused today. So let's go on to how to actually set goals. So let's specifically dive into health and fitness. So when you set a goal, you're really deciding that where you are right now, so today in this present moment, isn't where you want to be in the future, right? So you can view this in a positive light, as in, okay, I want to be better, or I want to enhance myself. You can also view it in a negative way, as in, I don't like the way I am today. I don't like how my body feels, or I don't like how I feel about my body. So everyone's different in terms of what motivates them. But the important thing is, a goal is saying, I want to improve in the future. Okay. So let's actually talk about getting practical now. So we got 5 steps, if we move forward to the next slide, of how to actually set a goal. Right. So, and we're going to go through this now. So we're going to actually have a quick exercise. So first of all, I want everyone to grab a pen. If you have a pen and paper, great. If not, you can use notes on your phone, but I would recommend actually to sort of write it down. It can be, I think it's scientifically, if you write it down, you're more likely to remember and to really internalize it. So grab a pen and paper. You're going to write down a list of what you'd like to achieve when it comes to health and fitness specifically, right? And I'm going to share a few examples if you need some. So think big here. So I know people talk about SMART goals, so being, realistic. Of course, that is part of it, but write something down that excites you, right? It has to be something, even in the long term, even if it might take a while to get there, write something down that really excites you. Then we're going to write down what's the time frame that you'd really like to achieve it in, right? Is that in the next couple of weeks? Is that by the end of the year? Is that in 5 years, or is even that 10 or 15 years? So some health and fitness goals will just take time, right? And just need the effort. Then this is really, really important, is writing down your why. So I think this is talked about a lot, but it's really important when things get difficult, when maybe you have, things are tough and you've got a busy day at work, maybe you didn't have a good sleep and your goals go out the window, right? That's when writing down your reason why and the story you tell yourself can be important. And then the last part is planning one action that you can do right now. So, I mean, right now. So you could schedule something either later for today or for tomorrow to actually get started, because the hardest part is really to make that first step, right? A famous runner said, the hardest part is putting your shoes on. Once you've got your shoes on and you're out there running, it almost feels easy and it will start to feel better. So these are the 5 steps. So if we move to the next slide, we're actually going to do a quick exercise now. So I'm going to start the timer, and everybody's going to have 3 minutes, right, to do this quick exercise. I've put a table there. So there's actually 4 steps for you to do. So draw down the table on a pen and paper, or put it in your notes. And then you're going to do these 4 things, right? So write down the goal that excites you. You can write down a few if you like. Put the time frame next to it, right? So for example, I want to run 10 kilometers, right? Maybe it's by the end of the year, maybe it's in 2 years' time. Then you're going to write down your why. So maybe it's, I want to make my children proud, that they know that I am capable of doing this. And then one action, right? So for example, I'm going to make sure I go for a run tomorrow morning, or I'm going to go after work today. You can make that decision right now. So I'm starting the timer now. So everybody has 3 minutes. Please, like, don't respond to anything else on your phone or emails for this time. This is time for you. So we're going to start the timer now. So 3 minutes. So 3 minutes. Think big, something that excites you. Maybe you can think of somebody that inspires you and a goal they've achieved. Think back to maybe when you were a child and you had a dream of what you'd like to be, what you'd like to achieve. That's right, Gwyn, let's go, go, go. So spend the first minute at least really figuring out a goal that excites you, and then you can move to the next steps, right, in terms of writing down when you'd like to achieve this. Absolutely, Lester. This could be something as, I wouldn't even call that mundane. That could be extremely exciting to wear a couple of sizes smaller. That's a great idea. It doesn't have to be performance-based, and it's whatever is relevant to you. Yeah. And Angelita, if you would like to focus on family goals, that's absolutely fine too. We structured this around health and fitness, but the same process really applies for family goals as well. And you can use this exercise. Drink more water. Yeah. We're almost up to 90 seconds here. All right, and then hopefully we can have a few people at the end of the 3 minutes who are actually willing to sort of share their goals and their time frame and their why, so that we can be inspired here. So keep going, keep writing, just let it flow. There's really no right or wrong answers here. And remember, this 3 minutes is just for you, right? It's just for you. Okay, so just less than 60 seconds left. Good morning, Nichelle, to you too. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat, by the way, if you're unsure of the exercise. Yeah, hopefully by now you have a very a clear goal or a few different goals. Remember on the time frame, this could be in a week's time, it could be by the end of the year, it could be by 2030. Maybe you want to be an ultra marathon runner by 2050, or maybe you just want to fit into the pair of trousers that you did a few years ago. Whatever works for you. It could just be, I want to get a better night's sleep. That's very, very important. And writing down your why, so that could be you want to make your kids proud. It could be you want to make yourself proud. It could be you want to be fit and healthy so you can live as long as possible. All right, so we're coming up on the 3 minute mark. So we're going to stop it there. You feel free to keep writing. Yeah, so Gwyn said, please raise your hand. We really hope that somebody's willing to share here, so we can have 1 or 2 people talk, and we'll actually let you unmute. And we'd really appreciate if you can share these 4 steps, so one of your goals. So does anybody in the audience would they like to share their goals? Just raise your hand. Bear in mind, this could really help you be accountable. If you tell us all here today what your goals are, you're probably more likely that you're going to achieve it. Is there anybody out there who'd be willing to share? If not, maybe you can drop in the chat. So I think Annalyn said you'd like to be more physically active. So Annalyn, did you write anything else down there, or anything more specific around being more physically active? Okay, I think we got Mitzi who's raised their hand, and Annalyn. So yeah, please feel free to go ahead. Let's unmute and we can open up and talk about the goals. This is a safe space.
Hi everyone, Mitzi here.
Hi,
So,
Mitzi.
hi Josh. So, here are my list. Step one, I'd like to lose a couple of sizes or lose weight by swimming or other activities.
Hmm.
Step two, achieve at least 50 kilos in weight, hopefully 50 to 55. And then number three, why? So I can fit my old clothes. That's it. And then number four, plan of action, probably by starting next week.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for sharing, Mitzi. Really, really appreciate. It's not easy to stand up in front of a group of people and share your goal like that so openly. So that's really great. So just to reiterate, so your goal is to lose a couple of dress sizes, right? And then you want to get to around 50, 55 kilos, I think you said. And then why is you really want to fit your old clothes, and then you want to start next week. So I think that's really, really great. It's a good starting point. What I would recommend is, in terms of that action that you can do right now, why wait until next week, right? The next week is a dangerous place because a lot can happen, right? The weekend happens,
Yeah.
you'll forget about this seminar that we do. That's where I'd say schedule it like after work tonight. You could go and make a plan as in, okay, in order to lose weight, if we break that down, diet's probably the most important thing, and then some regular exercise and sleep. So those are probably the most important things. You can break it down and think, okay, what can I do starting today to take a step in the right direction? And I guarantee tomorrow morning you'll feel like great if you make that first step.
Mm.
But yeah, obviously step one is writing down those goals. So that's great. Do you have any questions? Anything you'd like maybe advice on, Mitzi? Oh, Mitzi, you still with us? I think we might have.
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay, great. So let us know if any questions, but congratulations on making your goals, and we wish you the best of luck. Okay.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you,
I think we
everyone.
had Annalyn as well. Would you like to quickly share, Annalyn?
Yes, hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi, Annalyn. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, first I would like to be more physically active. Why? Because since I am working from home for more than a year now, most of the time I am just sitting and working on my computer, and then
Hmm.
I would like to um, exercise regularly. And that
Yep.
is I am guilty of because I cannot exercise regularly because of the loads of work. And of course, I would like to achieve this as soon as possible. Maybe I would like to start
Hmm.
um, as early as tomorrow. And
Yes.
and of course, I would like to do this for myself and for my family as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's it. I would like to start tomorrow and achieve this maybe this whole month of July to
Hmm.
be more physically active by exercising daily and to sleep early as well.
Okay, sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Annalyn. So that's great. So
Thank
really
you.
sort of process driven. You just want to be more physically active. You're going to start tomorrow. So yeah, good luck with the first step. Make sure tomorrow morning, whatever time that is, you get out and do something. Whether that's you could do a hit workout at home. We actually just launched a 10-minute workout series at Rebels. So even if you only have 10 minutes, or go out for a jog or whatever it is for you that you enjoy, we wish you the best of luck on the journey.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And then we'll just go through one more. I think Mindy shared in the chat. So Minda's goal is to develop a discipline to do a short yoga exercise at the start of the day. So to improve focus and improve immunity. So she wants to improve productivity and not be sluggish. And when are they going to start? Tomorrow morning. So that's great, Minda. So round of applause there. Thank you, Annalyn, Mitzi, and Minda for sharing your goals. So now we're going to actually move to the next stage, so strategies for success. So how can we actually achieve these? So almost the easy part is writing down the goal, but that's the first step. So these are three strategies, right? So one is time management, second is prioritization, and the third is a support system, right? So on time management, I think hands up if you feel like you're busy all the time, like work's busy, you go home or you stay at home and you've got family to worry about. If you just feel busy and you don't have enough time in the day. I know I can feel like that sometimes. So the solution here is really to get organized, right? So sounds easier said than done, but use a calendar, schedule time for yourself, whether that's to do your morning yoga or whether it's to go for a run or it's to do whatever exercise you have in mind. Schedule it as if it was a meeting with work that you would not miss, right? And in terms of your calendar, make sure that you know what time you need to go to sleep. If you know you need to wake up to do a workout and you know you want at least, let's say, 7 hours sleep, make sure you schedule to go to bed at whatever that is, 11 p.m., 12 p.m. Try not to sit there late at night scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube until 2, 3 a.m. Of course, you're not going to wake up the next day feeling great. I'm sure you guys know this, that you're in sort of HR and people teams. So hopefully you're some of the best equipped people. But yeah, number one is time management. Second is prioritization. So I think it's common to say that I just don't have time, but let's really break down what else are we doing throughout the day, right? How much time do we spend on social media, or how much time do we spend doing other things, right? That maybe aren't contributing towards your goals. So this is really about making the time and ultimately everybody has 24 hours in a day, right? Any celebrity, athlete, business person that we've ever met has the same amount of time in a day. So it really comes down to prioritization. Of course, it's not easy if people are commuting or working overnight shifts is very common. These are our problems, but there are ways to sort of tackle this and address. And then the third is support system. So actually, this forum here is a great way to hold ourselves accountable. So especially for those people who shared their goals, once you write down your goal, once you tell your friends, your family, or a group of people like this, you're internalizing that and making yourself accountable, right? So it really can help to have somebody like a buddy to hold you accountable or a coach to hold you accountable. So that's one thing at Rebel we actually do offer is personal coaches for people like within companies to help people with their goals. Because at the end of the day, everybody has a bad day sometimes where you don't want to get out of bed or you don't feel like doing it. That's where somebody external in a support system can really help. Okay, so now we're going to move forward into how to get into the right state, right? So I talked about a few of these concepts here. Really, the basis is if you wake up and you feel like you want to go straight back to sleep, then you're probably not going to be in the right state of mind to go and achieve goals, whether that's health or whether that's career, whether that's finance goals. So we're going to talk about three things quite briefly. So one is sleep, the other is exercise, and the other is nutrition. So if we look after these three things, everything else can sort of fit into place. So a quick question here, please put in the chat. This should be easy. How much sleep do you get per night on average? So let me know in the chat. Is that above 8 hours? Is that 6 to 8 hours? Is that 4 to 6? Is that less than 4? I really hope not. But please put it in the chat. Would love to understand a little bit more about how much sleep are you guys getting. Okay, so Minda's 7, Minda 6 to 8, 6 to 8. Lewis says over 8. Maria 4 to 6 there, with a lot of 6 to 8 hours. Okay, so this is not bad. A few pre-COVID, 4 to 6 less to post-COVID plus 8. Okay, so COVID has obviously had an impact there. Okay, so there's a variation there, but we've definitely got quite a few people with under 6. So I think everybody knows sleep is important, right? But maybe to emphasize why it's so important. So if you actually get less than 7 hours sleep on a regular basis, not to alarm you, but the studies show that you do increase the chance of you getting some sort of chronic illness or cancer by around 50% in the long run, if you consistently get less than 7 hours sleep, right? So there really are long-term sort of health risks, especially when related to mental health and depression. Like sleep really is fundamental to overcoming those. So particularly with the pandemic right now, sleep is your friend. A lot of in the past, I think people talk about, you can sleep later on in life, but it catches up on you. So on the next slide, I want to show you, let's look at the NBA for a second. So if we look in sports, so we've talked about the risks of if you don't sleep, but what are the benefits if you do sleep? So here's a famous NBA player, Iguodala. So with over 8 hours sleep, he increased the number of points he could score per minute by almost 30%, increased the minutes played in a game by over 12%, and a few other stats there. So this is just one player in the NBA, but this shows the performance enhancing, like basically power of sleep, right? So imagine this compounded every day within the workplace. If everybody's at a sleep deficit and they're not as productive as they could be because they didn't get a good night's sleep, that's going to have a negative impact. On the flip side, if people do get enough sleep, we're going to see great improvements. So on the next slide, we showed just 4 top tips. So one is avoid artificial light before you go to bed. So if you do have trouble sleeping, try and turn this thing off with your phone. It's not easy, but try and turn it off 30 minutes or an hour before bed so your mind's not wired. Try and go to bed and wake up at the same time every night. So a lot of people tend to sleep really late at the weekends and then try and wake up for work Monday morning and wonder why I feel so tired. So try and get a routine so that every night of the week you're roughly going to bed at the same time. If you do have trouble sleeping and you lie awake at night, right, that can be quite create a lot of anxiety. Try not to do that for more than 20 minutes. So just try and stop yourself, do something else, distract your mind, and then try again, but don't let the anxiety take control. And then the last thing is decrease the temperature around you. So if you do have air conditioning, try and decrease the temperature by about 1 degree. Yet Why We Sleep, Algeria is a great book. So some of the information here is based on Matthew Walker's sort of findings. Great recommendation. So that's on sleep, okay? Next up is nutrition. So this is a whole topic in itself. We're not going to go into too much detail today, but at Rebel, we do have a lot of content related to nutrition, both on the app and we work with registered nutritionists. So just going to introduce basic concepts here. So on the next slide, remember this. So balance, moderation, and variety. Right? They're the most important things for a quote unquote healthy diet. So lots of people talking about keto diets, vegan diets, low carb, right? All of these different types. So of course, and intermittent fasting, these are all hot topics. But fundamentally, if you think of a diet that you could live for the rest of your life, it should be balanced, meaning your plate would look something similar to this. So you're getting protein, you're getting carbohydrates and veggies, right? Every single meal. In moderation, meaning so your portions aren't huge. And variety, right? So you're not eating the same things every day and you're getting enough nutrients and minerals and from different types of foods, right? And then the last thing here, which I think is important, is a lot of people talk about supplements, right? In terms of the magic pill to solve all your problems. Really, the most important thing, let's say if you want to lose weight, is the amount of calories. So the energy, the amount of food that you're consuming and the amount that you're burning, right? So you might see fat burning pills or things, diet pills. Focus on what you're eating first and foremost. That's really the most important thing. And then what time you eat is slightly less important, but it is a factor. And then macronutrients, right? So the ratio between how much protein or how many carbs you're eating, right? Another hot topic we get asked a lot about is rice. So should I be eating rice? Rice is not the enemy. If you eat too much rice, yes, that could be bad, but too much of anything can also be bad. Right? So there's no good or bad foods. It's just how much you're eating and how regularly. So if you eat well, you're going to have more energy and be more likely to go ahead and achieve whatever goals you have. And then the last part is exercise. So we've already talked about that, and a few people's goals are based around this. So on the next slide, just going to go through why is it important to exercise, right? So first of all, it is to reduce the risk of illness. So you can reduce your risks by up to 50% of getting heart disease, type 2 diabetes, which is a big problem, and cancer by basically improving by regular exercise. The second is it makes you feel good. So I think the mental health aspect of exercise maybe isn't talked about as much, but people refer to sometimes a runner's high. So if you go for a run or any type of exercise afterwards, you can actually feel really good, right? Feel sort of invincible, or any anxiety that you have can disappear. So that's scientifically something's happening in your body, right? So there's things called endorphins, which are basically chemicals that are being released. So there's dopamine, serotonin that are being released in the body, which actually make you feel good physiologically. So the most important thing is you get started, and then after 10 minutes of whatever you're doing, you're going to feel these chemicals, you're going to feel good. And then the last one is improving confidence, right? I think this really comes down to, if we say we're going to do something and then we do it, that builds confidence. So if you say you're going to start yoga first thing tomorrow morning and you actually do that, that's going to improve your confidence. So there's some important topics when it comes to exercise. So hopefully there's a few, we've talked about how to set goals. We've talked about the benefits, right? And then specifically, how do you get yourself in a state? So if you have a good night's sleep, if you eat right and you exercise, then the possibilities are endless, right? You're going to feel in the best physical state to go and achieve those. And that's going to benefit in the workplace, of course, too. All right, so that finishes the section on goals. I'm quickly just going to finish on corporate wellness. So just for a few minutes here. So as I mentioned, so we are from Rebel, so we have a platform and we are working with companies. So I know a lot of you work in HR teams. So we've partnered with, if we go to the next slide, lots of various companies ranging from 200 employees up to over 5,000 to 10,000 employees, helping their workforces get healthier. So we have a simple framework that we always do, and we can set up separate introductions maybe after this, or we can get in contact through Sprout. One is always understanding the core problems. So every organization inherently has different issues, whether that is related to stress. Maybe you work in an accounting firm and there's always deadlines from clients. Maybe there's a big customer service team that are working through the night, so they're really struggling with sleep. So we want to understand the core problems. Then education. So similar to what we've walked through today, we do various seminars around exercise, nutrition, and sleep to really educate. And then I think most important is driving engagement. So I'm sure some of you in the call here have done different activities with coaches or instructors, and maybe engagement's been good, but maybe it's actually been it decreases over time. So we've been working really hard to make sure that we can increase retention over time. So part of the reason Owen and Nico are involved with Rebel, and it's an exciting brand, gets people excited and wants them to join our workouts, wants them to join our challenges, so that over the next 6 to 12 months, the team can achieve results. And then obviously, as you would know on this call, the idea is that everybody can be happier in terms of employee satisfaction. People are going to be more productive, and then we can reduce absenteeism, right, together. So we've just got a few minutes left here. So if we move forward to the next slide, I'm going to show you concretely sort of a menu of what Rebel has to offer when it comes to corporate wellness. So take note here and have a think of, if you look at your organization today, look at if you're doing events, or if you have a program in place, and if there's any gaps there, or if you're thinking about getting started. So 4 different components. One is weekly live sessions. So whether that's workouts or nutrition sessions. So we have over 40 different coaches that we work with that are really the best in the country. They would come via Zoom or via Microsoft Teams, whatever you use, and host exclusive sessions for your company and for your employees. The second is customized workshops. So sort of like what we're doing today. If you think it would be useful for your team, for somebody to come in and learn about how to set goals, let's say it could be in the workplace or for health and fitness, we could arrange a customized workshop with one of our experts. We've also done, as an example, how to improve your posture. So we've invited in a physiotherapist who then does an interactive presentation on how to improve, your neck, your shoulder, your wrists, where your laptop is if you're working from home, which I think is very common. Then we do seminars. So overall, like putting together all this knowledge, these are typically like once a quarter and more informative. And then the last thing is access to the Rebel Pro app, right? So you can download the Rebel app for free and you get access to a little bit of content. But then we have basically a subscription where you get access to everything. So companies really love this because it means that their team has access to health and fitness content. So workouts, recipes, meditations, every day, any time of day, right? So one issue I think some companies face with the live sessions is only a few or smaller percentage of the team show up. Whereas when they have access to an app 24/7, if they want to wake up at the weekend and do a yoga session, they can, and they feel supported by the company. But equally, if they want to join a live session, they can do that too. Oh, that's a bit of an overview there. On the last slide, it just shows some of our experts that we work with. So across fitness, physical therapy, mental health, and nutrition, we really have handpicked some of the country's best coaches, and these would be available to you. So yeah, we'd be more than happy if anybody would like to set up a follow-up, and we can discuss how Rebel could support your teams. Yeah. So that's all from my side. So yeah, if you haven't already, please make sure you download the Rebel app and remember the goals that you wrote down. So hopefully you found this personally beneficial and could help your organizations. Thank you very much for inviting us in. So Ziana and Samira specifically, and look forward to the panel discussion. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Josh, for the presentation. And I'm pretty sure everyone learned a lot from it. So I know you guys have a lot of thoughts and questions on the topic. So feel free to use this time to finalize your questions. So while you guys are chatting up here in the comment section or the chat section here, so it's time to reveal our second raffle keyword. All right. So the second raffle keyword that we have is fitness. Again, guys, it's fitness. And at the same time, I'd also like to announce the first raffle keyword, which is goals. So later on, I'll be giving you a summary of the 3 keywords that we have for today. All right. So before we reveal, guys, the third and final keyword, here at Sprout, it's our culture to keep practicing work-life integration. If you're down to learn more about our company, please watch this video.
So you've got your processes, and your company is an oiled machine that runs pretty smoothly, but under the hood, you have problems. You've got managers desperate to know the status of their open positions, leave requests getting lost in a jumble of emails, SMS and forms, and employees complaining about payroll errors. You've thought about some expensive custom software that would be a pain to maintain, or swimming in all the features of SAP or Oracle, or maybe even outsourcing your payroll altogether. Why can't you find a local, intelligent, well-supported software that caters to your needs as a Philippine company? Well, guess what? Here at Sprout, we've developed a system that just works. One system with all the features you need and without all those that you don't. So what are you waiting for? Get over to sprout.ph and get your systems fixed today.
Okay, I hope you guys learned a thing about of our company using that video. So we're happy to share you the latest legal alerts. Please welcome our Head of Business Development and Legal Counsel, Attorney Lester Ople.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Josh, for a very insightful presentation. I personally downloaded the Rebel app just now, and looking forward to having this journey with the app. And it's very interesting that we don't have any new updates from the government regarding labor compliance, but we want to reiterate Labor Advisory number 3-2021. If you're a regular viewer of the webinar, you know that I was out the whole month of April due to COVID. And I would like to reiterate to everyone the requirement of the DOLE that workplaces should adopt and implement an appropriate COVID-19 vaccination policy in the workplace as part of the occupational safety and health programs. And if you go with Department Order 208, one of the requirements there is a requirement of a mental health and wellness policy. And corporate programs like Rebel would be definitely helpful to your organization to be compliant on Department Order 208. Of course, you have Sprout Wellness as our offering for this compliance. Okay. So again, we want to reiterate that number one. Can we go back to the previous slide, please? For labor advisory number 3, you have to have a COVID-19 vaccination policy in place, and it should be part of your occupational safety and health programs. If you are vaccinating your employees, no cost should be charged or passed on directly or indirectly to the employees, and that workplaces should endeavor to encourage vaccination, but anytime that an employee refuses or fails to be vaccinated, you cannot discriminate against that particular employee. Okay, next slide, please. Again, Department Order 208, workplaces are mandated, I reiterate the word mandated, to formulate a mental health workplace policy and program. And these are the components of that program: advocacy, information, education, and training, promotion and enhancement of workers' well-being. And again, Rebel app is one of the tools that you have available now. Also, you have Sprout Wellness. And of course, the social policy, which needs to include non-discrimination and confidentiality, reasonable work accommodation, and other support mechanisms. Okay, that's it for Sprout legal alerts. Please tune in for more updates as the government releases more. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Attorney Les. So to be on the look for the latest legal updates, make sure to follow us at Sprout HR Tech on our Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter account. So it's now time for me to announce the third and final keyword for today. So please make sure to note on this one. So our third raffle keyword is mindset. All right, again, guys, the third raffle keyword is mindset. So to recap, our three raffle keywords is goals, fitness, and mindset. And guys, goals, fitness, and mindset. So to join the raffle, simply follow our Sprout Twitter page with the handle at Sprout HR Tech and comment these three keywords on the latest pinned post. We'll be choosing our lucky winner via Twitter, so make sure to comment your answers on our pinned post. Okay, so I remember earlier in the intro, guys, I mentioned that we'll be having a fireside chat with our speaker and panelists. So if your questions are ready, please sure to type them in the chat box. So it's my pleasure to welcome back our speaker, Mr. Josh Nedeljkovic and Attorney Lester Oplick. Joining them is our very own company nurse and corporate admin specialist, Ms. Jermaine Kanja. All right, welcome. So I'll be asking the first question for today, which is coming from Miss Leslie. Do you have your own preferred diet program to clients as part of your health and fitness program? If so, what are this? I think this question is specific for Mr. Josh.
Probably not mine.
Yeah, sure. So look, I think when it comes to diet program, lots of people looking for sort of a magic solution. But as I mentioned sort of earlier in the presentation, it really comes down to it's something that's balanced with variety and in moderation. So we don't specifically recommend, let's say, intermittent fasting or keto, but if that works for you, then that's great. But what we do recommend is, as long as you don't have any chronic illnesses or eating disorders, make sure you're getting the right balance of protein, right? So make sure you're eating enough, whether it's chicken, fish, beef, pork, whatever that may be, a decent amount of carbohydrates, but try not to fill the plate full of rice. It's 80-90% rice, but it can be 30-40%. And then vegetables are your friend. I think our approach to diets and nutrition in general is making sure that you give your body what it needs. That pretty much sums it up, I would say. So we don't specifically say eat this amount of calories or that amount. We do customize in some cases. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Samir. Balance, moderation, variety.
All right, that is great. So the second question is, based on your recent experiences with companies, what are the common concerns you're addressing and helping with?
Should I take this one as well? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sure. So I think we're in quite a unique or a special position to really help companies at this stage. I think the biggest thing, which is sort of fundamental, is really mental health. So just the fact that so many people are working from home, it's uncertain. Obviously, it's still quite risky to be outside in some cases. You have to wear face shields. So it's not the easiest time to be, operating as a human right now, right? So just fundamentally mental health can take a toll. So that's one. I think second is community. So because of the lockdowns and because of like gyms closing or just not being able to interact, people are missing that social interaction. So we really try and solve for those, right? We try and bring people together within the Rebel community so they feel like they have friends and people that they can reach out to. And then on the mental health side, that is about getting people, exercising, getting people to have healthier habits, to sleep better. So I'd say those are the two big things, and the third is sleep. So we did already talk about that, but I think if you don't get a good night's sleep, so many other things are going to feel like bigger problems. So that is something we particularly hear from a lot of, let's say, BPOs. So with people who are on different time zones, so working through the night, that is a real challenge for a lot of companies or people within companies. Yeah.
All right. Again, I understand on that. It's really like really beneficial for us to have a really proper hours of sleep. It helps a
Mhm.
lot because the moment that you feel like you feel uneasy or you only have like, let's say 4 hours of sleep, immediately your brain focuses on like, oh, you need to sleep more or this and that. And then, it just push you away from the goals that you have. So I think, how about me, Miss Jeremy? Our company nurse, maybe perhaps you also have a additional comment on the question.
Okay, so with regards naman also with our program in our company or organization, so our company is really top one talaga siya on pushing the mental health within our organization. So that's why we have our very own Sprout Wellness, wherein our employees could contact if they are feeling anxious or whatever, bothering or feeling stressed, they can just book a consultation with our very own Sprout Wellness, and also they can book yoga or meditation, and yun. So this program is really very helpful within the organization, and of course to our clients as well.
Yes, so Miss Jeremy actually have like a program that we do here in Sprout every week, which is yoga and also meditation, which helps a lot. And a lot of our employees appreciated the program that they created recently. So, all right, thank you so much. For the third question that we have is, how can you convince management who are saving on finances to invest on health wellness?
I'd like to take first crack on that question. So the first one is you have to present it to management as a matter of compliance. As I mentioned earlier in the legal alerts portion, the Department of Labor has issued Department Order 208, and this implements the Philippine Mental Health Law. There is quite some discussion in the legal circles about the legal effect because it's a department order, but the title of the department order is guidelines. So there's some sort of philosophy around the use of the words there, but for compliance purposes, what we recommend, especially on the case of Sprout, is that having a mental health wellness program is now mandatory. If you fail to have such program, you may be subject to a compliance order by the Department of Labor, and this may result in fines. And if you have the improper policies regarding how to deal with illnesses in the workplace, you may be subject to legal risk in terms of, for example, in my case, I was absent for almost a whole month in April due to severe COVID, and um, I'm very lucky to be in an organization like Sprout because it was handled, how it should have been handled and more. And in terms of the other organizations, you go through your Department of Labor handbook of monetary benefits, and you go through all of those line items. So you have to be able to pay minimum wage, all of the premiums, and then at the end of it you would have to be subject to the occupational safety and health programs. So mental health is just one of the components there. Physical wellness is also one of the requirements under the department DTI and DOLE joint guidelines for prevention of COVID in the workplace. And the first item in that guidelines is that workplaces should encourage overall health and wellness for their employees to make everyone resilient against COVID-19. A healthy workforce is a productive workforce. That's the first thing that you have to, you have to make your management understand. And second, it's a matter of compliance. So If you make your workers healthy, you're assured of productivity, efficiency, and compliance with government mandates.
That's right, Attorney Lester. No, so to add on lang, um, this time of pandemic, it is not just, as I always say, during my talk in webinars or brown bag sessions, it is not just our physical body that's being, um, being tested or challenged, but of course our mental health as well. So that's why we really need to have a balance also, and that's why physical and mental wellness is should be given attention, and so that's why our companies, our employers need to take care not just the physical health of our employees, but of course the mental health.
Yes, and actually to a little bit to add on it, in terms of mental health, if you guys make a practice of working out, even just once a week or twice a week, thrice a week, just for the 30 minutes of your time, it actually will also help out your mental health. It will boost your immune system. It will boost your mind. It will make sure that it will do a lot of things. So I personally experienced that as well when I started working out way back in the first quarter of the year. It really boosts my mental health as well.
That's great to
Okay.
hear, Samira.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So we have another question here directly for Attorney Ople. So can we ask employees to sign a waiver, that they cannot fault the company if they contract COVID after not being willing to be vaccinated?
This one is a very controversial subject across all jurisdictions. The West has a totally different framework on, employee rights. My body, my choice kind of thing. For the Philippines, where there is no law that requires vaccination. So this pains me to say because I have a lot of friends who are actually um, of the opinion that they should not get vaccinated. So anti-vaxxers, roll eyes. But um, as far as employment is concerned, I shared earlier that there is no legal requirement for vaccination in the workplace. But you have to go back to the DTI DOLE guidelines. The DTI DOLE guidelines have very specific positive actions to be complied with by the employer. The first one is your health declaration form. Whenever you have people who are physically reporting for work in the facility, you should take the temperature. Anyone who has a high temp or has been exposed to a COVID case in the last 14 days should be refused entry to the facility and be treated as if it's a case of COVID-19. That's for the safety of the rest of the people in the workplace. If you want to have a detailed walkthrough of the compliance guidelines on the DTI DOLE guidelines for workplace prevention of COVID-19, we have an episode in season 1 or season 2 of the Sprout webinar. Please visit our website for that. And then as to your specific question regarding the waiver, take note that the Employee Compensation Commission has actually promulgated rules that COVID-19 is now a compensable disease. Meaning, if it is contracted in the workplace, then the ECC will be giving benefits to people who have contracted COVID-19 in the workplace. What's the effect on the employer? The employer has to show compliance with the DTI DOLE guidelines on COVID prevention so that they will be avoiding liability. So that means that if you have the health declaration form, temperature checks, access to sanitizers, you do your own contact tracing inside the inside the workplace, you are unlikely to get legally liable for having COVID-19. Your employee who contracted COVID-19 in the workplace to sue you for their exposure. But again, you go back to the DTI DOLE guidelines. You comply with these guidelines, and you go to the guidelines on COVID vaccination programs in the workplace. You should be good to go.
All right. Thank you so much, Attorney Lester, for that one. And we have our last question. So for Josh, is there any suggestion on effective wellness program for employees and ways to increase employee engagement?
Yep. So I think there's two parts to that. So I mean, on the first, in terms of effective, that really depends on the organization, right? So one question we always ask companies is, what type of people do you have in the organization? Is that developers? Is that accountants? Is that salespeople that are out? Is that people on the phones through the night. So it's really useful to understand that in terms of like how to approach the program. And then in terms of how to increase engagement, this is probably the most important, well, the biggest question we get asked from companies, right? How do we get people involved? So I think there's a few ways to break this down. Number one is understanding what the problems are. So I mentioned that before. So we encourage companies to do surveys if they don't already, to really understand what are people asking for, right? Understanding those needs and problems. The second is then communication. So I think this is obviously like the responsibility of a company like Rebel, who's coming in to provide a service, but it also is internal communications. So the more buy-in from the top within the company and the more communications with employees, the more likely people will show up. That can be quite a common challenge. Even if we can have the best coach in the world who's going to come into your company, if it's not communicated well, nobody will actually experience that, right? So I think that's important. And then the actual engaging content. So as I mentioned before, Rebel's approach is we want every employee to feel like they have access any time of day, any hour of the day, right? So whether they can go on the app, right, so they don't have to talk to anybody, but they feel like the company is supporting them, or they have the live sessions if they want the community. So it's really just always on access. And then the last part is just consistently following up. So it's not just about, having a kickoff session, getting everybody excited for one workout and then everybody forgets. It's about letting the team know, okay, we're going to go on a journey together for the next 12 months. Here's the coaches. We're going to start up easy. We're going to get progressively more challenging and keeping it fresh. So yeah, it's not easy. I would say it's the biggest problem to solve, but we've sort of come up with that framework to help on this.
All right, thank you. How about Ms. Jimmy? Do you have anything to add on?
So in addition to what Josh have said, so this is very challenging sa part of the engagement team, no, to have a very effective the wellness program. So yes, it's very important to know what kind of employees you have, and of course here in Sprout Solutions, feedbacking is very important also. So we ask our employees what they want to do, or what are their suggestions, so we could give them or offer them effective wellness program, which is their what you call this, the programs they really wanted to do, so that kumbaga, these programs will be effective then sa kanila, and of course achieve what they really want to do as employees. So yun po.
All right, thank you. How about Attorney Lester? Do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, I just like to highlight what Josh mentioned earlier, that there has to be management buy-in. At the end of the day, management drives the tone from the top, and if there is no push towards having a wellness program for employees, then it's hard to get other people in the organization excited about it. And the thing I like about the offerings of Rebel is that a lot of our smaller organizations in the Philippines, engagement is an afterthought. Wellness programs are an afterthought, and having access to programs in companies like Rebel and Josh, it gives you one less thing to worry about. That you now have a group of experts who can actually help you design your workplace specific wellness program. Be responsive to the needs of your employees. After all, it is still a market, and you have one less thing to worry about, because all of the things that have to be designed from a wellness engagement perspective are actually being taken care of by programs like Rebel, and of course Sprout Wellness for our side of the fence. That's it for me.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for the questions and also the answers. So thank you for Mr. Josh, Attorney Lester, and Ms. Jermaine for this everything. So let's give them a round of applause. Unfortunately, this is the only time that we have to answer the questions that you provided, but I thank you guys for jotting down your questions, and I hope we were able to address them properly. So for any e-certificate requests, you may follow the instruction that you see on your screens and send your request through this link, bit.ly/certificate request form, or you can go ahead and scan the QR code here. So for now, the moment that we've all been waiting for, I'd like to announce the winner of the raffle, which is, hold on, get Let me go ahead. Okay. The raffle winner is Algerie Agnasen. Again, I'll say her name is Algerie Agnasen. Congratulations. So for the winner, Ms. Algerie, please send us a DM on Twitter so we can send you the instructions on how to get the Grab gift card. So thank you for everyone for participating and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the invite. And Annalyn will reach out. I can see a message there around a wellness proposal. So. Thanks, everybody.